Welcome to this episode, and we are going to be going through everything wrong with the S15 and what needs to be addressed.
But first, consider subscribing to see some more automotive content, as I'll be uploading fortnightly. It's super easy and requires absolutely no commitment. Just click the big red button. Plus, it's free. Anyway, subscribe. Let's get back to the video.
Now, this battery has been causing some issues, and I've had to run tests to see what the problem may be. Currently, it's on charge, and it's been on charge for quite some time. The battery itself is fine, but I was under the assumption that maybe there was a charging issue. However, I've also debunked that. As it turns out, this car has quite an intricate alarm system and immobilizer, and it actually drains a lot of power while stationary. So this size battery, I think, is not big enough to sustain the alarm system consistently being on for a number of weeks while stationary. Next, we have paint scratches, paint swirls, and just damage from wear and tear, driving, whatever you want to call it. This car has changed hands over the last decade, and the last owner has driven it daily. So this car has a lot more rock chips than what it did prior, and the paint hasn't been looked after as well as you'd like it to. Alongside paint scratches, we also have slight bubbling. You can see here there is small rust bubbling. We have very minor rust. This is not deep rust, so it's not causing any issues, and I've checked the car's inner panels and underside. There is absolutely no other rust anywhere else. We do have some paint peeling. I'm going to try and buff it out. I'm not even sure if you can. You know, we'll try our best, see what we can get out of it. You never know, you might be able to get something from that from a distance looks pretty good. That's all we really care about at this point, making the car look good from a distance. Where water is trapped and the car being kept outside, there's mold growing into these wells, and there's a lot of dirt in here as well. Now onto the engine bay. I did mention that this car mechanically is perfect. The only thing I'd like to do is just freshen it up. This engine bay has never been cleaned before, so I feel like I can make it look a lot better presented than it is. There's a lot of electronics in the way, so I'm definitely going to have to be careful. I might even use a toothbrush. But, you know, with a nice engine bay, it looks a lot better and you feel a lot better about the car. So that's definitely something I'd like to tackle, so that when I do pop the bonnet, it's gonna look nice. Now, obviously these rims are aftermarket. One big gripe that I have is not the height especially. It is low. However, these wheels are so fat that it consistently rubs in the inner plastic guards. There are plastic guards that stop grime and dirt flicking up into your engine bay, and the tires rub on this a lot. Every time you hit a bump, you hear it. It rubs on the top up here, and I can actually feel it. It's completely gutted. So we might be looking into replacing them completely, maybe getting a new wheel and tire setup, or I might even just raise this a tiny bits to stop the rubbing. But the rubbing is a real issue, and it's just definitely going to rip that piece of plastic out from underneath the guard, and that's not good. We definitely don't want that, especially because it's happening consistently. These are the original headlights, and they are fading, and you can see they've gone completely yellow, which I believe is quite common. However, I'm not going to be trying to fix these. I've actually been given 2 boxes of brand new headlights, and I'll be changing these completely. So actually this left headlight doesn't work at all, hence why I'm not driving this car at all at night. So that would be a nice touch with the brand new headlights. Taking a look at this front bumper, so you can definitely tell there is a huge gap, and I'll be taking this off to try and work out what the issue is. So I'm assuming this should be quite a quick fix, as it doesn't cause any major problems at all. It's just more so it doesn't look too nice. I'm going to try and tidy up the paint, but these holes require bog and a new paint job, which I'm not going to even attempt. There used to be canards on this car, and I'm not even sure if the front bumper is going to be kept. You know, it might be changed later down the track, or if the car does get completely resprayed in 5 whatever so years, this will be addressed. It's not something that I can really do with basic tools. Okay, onto the interior. In the boot, We are experiencing a tiny bit of molding. Water has obviously gone in there, so we are going to clean that all up and ensure that water never gets through these seals again. I'm pretty sure I know why there is a bit of molding on the carpet, is because we had a spillage on a barbecue one day. That's pretty much it. I think that would be the only cause of that, so that's an easy fix. Here's a quick plug to a previous video. You can see this ProLock steering lock. I'm not advertising it or anything. I'm just saying that everyone should have a steering lock on their car if they want to protect it. Doesn't matter if you have an alarm system, someone can break into it pretty easily. And look, I've even got bollards and I've still used these steering locks in all my cars. So better safe than sorry, right? The steering wheel is slightly lopsided, but that's only my fault. I changed the starter motor about a year ago, and to get to the starter motor I had to remove the steering column or push it out of the way, and I just didn't reinstall it properly. So that's completely my fault, no one else's, and I should be able to fix that quite easily so that the car doesn't need to go to get realigned and money spent. These Recaro seats, these are not stock to the car. These were put in aftermarket for this car especially. These are super comfortable seats. They're really great, but for some reason they're rocking. I don't know why. I think they're bolted down perfectly fine. I'll get to the bottom of that because I think that's quite dangerous for these seats to be rocking around like that. The seat belts, they don't really retract anymore. It's unfortunate, but this is common. I've had that on literally every car I've owned pre-1999. So this is something that we'll either live with or we'll try and complete a very quick investigation to see if we can fix the mechanism. In terms of the interior, things are pretty nice in here. It has been cleaned as best it can, but I think it can be done a bit better. This car has been sitting for quite some time, so what I'm going to be doing is taking out the seats and getting in there to detail every single plastic trim. Some of the leather has started to fade, but it's not all that bad. It can be a lot worse, and it's not. Whatever I do will make the experience a lot more enjoyable, even if it's just a minor shine and I can't really fix any of the fading, then, you know, it's better than nothing. You know, it could be a lot worse. Back here, everything's looking pretty clean. There's not really much to say about the back seats. They don't get used, so they're almost brand new. In terms of something that I know is an issue, but I'll never fix because it's just not worth it. Apparently, it's quite common for S15s to have an issue with the fan, and this one has an issue with the fan. So when you turn on the fan or aircon or even heater, you hear like a buzzing noise, almost like the fan is grinding on something. Now, to get to the fan, I'll need to get behind the dash, and I don't think it's worth it unless I can find an easier way to do it. I've just been told by the owner not to worry about it because it's just too hard. End of the day, this car might end up getting a full respray, so this dash might have to come out, and that can be addressed at that point in time. And that concludes the video for today. Like I mentioned prior, we are only going to be focusing on aesthetics throughout the next few episodes. This car is completely fine mechanically. There is absolutely nothing wrong with it. It's still strong, so I'm not going to be worrying too much about that as it's got a very clean history. If you want to see more S15 content, do subscribe and hit the bell so you are notified when new content comes out, as I am uploading fortnightly as well as other content not related just to this S15. So if you made it this far, I appreciate you, and I'll be seeing you in the next video.